guys, in the fast lane here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do the timing on a Mazda B2300. Now the Mazda B2300, the 2.3 liter Duratec engine, is nothing like any other engine. It doesn't have any timing marks, and when you take the harmonic balancer or the crankshaft pulley off, it's a friction seal. Once you take it off and you go to turn the crank, the rods go up, but the cams don't spin at all because the cam gear is also a friction seal. So when you put that harmonic balancer and torque it down to 130 foot-pounds, it's a friction seal, and then it allows the cams to spin. It's one of the poorest designs I've seen, but if you get it wrong, you blow your engine up. So here's how you do it. Here's the gasket kit I got. It's a heuristic, and I got it on eBay. It comes with all the head seals for the water ports and pretty much every single port on the head. Also comes with intake manifold gaskets, all of them, and all the little map sensor or whatever's on there. Valve cover gasket, brand new. Didn't come with this, but you're gonna want one of these. It's a the timing cover, basically the crankshaft seal, front main seal. Also, it came with brand new head bolts, all brand new. Came with head gasket. Now this head gasket right here, exact same head gasket as a Felpro. Multi-layer, 2 layers of steel with this outlined kind of rubberish, I don't know what kind of material they use, but it's the same exact head gasket to the T. Also comes with the exhaust manifold gasket, and it comes with also the intake gasket for the middle on the valve cover, or not intake, for the valve cover, the middle part of it. And it comes with some RTV. It's the heuristic RTV, but it's the gray stuff. If you want to get Permatex, it's the gray stuff, same stuff, and that's it. So pretty much this little packet of gaskets right here goes on right here for the water port and other stuff. Here's the finish they did. It's pretty mirror-like. You can see a little bit of lines, but you can't feel them. It's a pretty good job, not too bad. The multi-layer steel head gasket, I mean, it's a pretty smooth cut, but like I said, I'm going to spray 2 layers on either side of the head gasket, and then I'm going to go ahead and spray 1 more, leave it sticky, and put it on there right away. Before I throw this in there, I'm going to end up either rubbing alcohol with a rag or a cloth and just wipe it really clean, and then I'm going to put it on there, make sure I don't have any kind of sand grain on there. A lot of the shops, they'll like just set the head down on like a dirty surface, and you'll get little nicks in the brand new deck job, so it's not too good sometimes. So I don't know, I like to always double check my work, and sometimes you have to go behind other people to get it done right, but we'll see. Now for the exhaust manifold that I got all painted up with some high temp paint, I'm going to take the gasket and I'm going to smear all the outlines where the indentions are bent out. Circle here, circle here, circle here. And then I'm going to put it on. I'm going to do both sides of the gasket, either side. Slide it on, and then I'm going to put the exhaust. And I'm going to put it on pretty generously because as I'm looking over here, I mean, this doesn't matter right here, but there's some little bit of pitting maybe around the ports. So, and then you got this. I've been trying to get that off a little bit, but it's not want to come off too easy. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, just put a little bit of excess on high temp RTV. Stuff works great for exhaust. I use it all the time, never have any leaks. Also, one more quick tip before you put it in there, go ahead and rub a little bit of this high temp around the they call it a bearing, but rub it around there and let it dry up a little bit. and then when you go to put the head on, right there in that lip, it's going to seal up really good. Now it'll probably seal fine, but just for extra, you know, security with no exhaust leaks, you can go ahead and do that, and it'll make real sure that there's no leaks. Okay, so I've clamped it at a spot to where it's not going to hurt the head gasket. This is outside of the block and head, and then I'm just going to grab it in another spot, and then lay it on there. So it'll be real easy. Now you see how I sprayed this? No mercy. You know, I really coated it. I think a lot of people, their problem is, what they complain about this stuff, is they just put a little light coat and then they say, wah, it's not sealing, or they didn't deck their head or their block. Well, you got to coat it on there like you can't even see the color that was under it. And then when you're done with that, let that dry a little bit. I'm going to flip it onto this side, and now we're going to paint this side the same way we painted the other side. And then I'm going to apply one more sticky coat, and as soon as I do that last coat, it's going right onto the head, and then, or the block, and then the head's getting put on immediately. Okay, so I'm getting ready to lay it on here. Just the one little spot. Right like that. I'm going to unclamp it, and that's it. Now I'm going to move the head gasket, or not the head gasket, the head onto this part. Alright. Yep, it's just a little bit heavy. Just a little heavy with, you know, exhaust manifold on there. Alright, now comes the real heavy part right here. Whew, can't really take any breaks. Okay, now I have to lift this, put it in there, and hopefully get it on the first try. Oh, damn. Woo! Check that out. Now I'm just going to put my head bolts on, and that's it. We're going to torque the head bolts down to about 15 pounds, starting from the middle, 1, 2, work our way into X. Now prior to putting this head on, I already blew out the head bolt ports, because if you have any oil there, they can pre-seize up and you won't be able to torque them down as good. All the way actually, and your head could still leak. Whew. Now these are pre-greased up. They already got some type of grease on them. So, gonna drop them all in there. Probably get my impact just to get them down in the spot that we want. Alright, so I'm gonna get my extensions and my T55 torque. I'm going to take out my torque wrench and I'm going to adjust it to 15 foot-pounds. Now the manual says to do like 142 inch-pounds and then 155, and I'm skipping all that. That's just too much ridiculousness. I'm gonna just 15, and then I'm gonna go to 33, and then whatever the manual says after that. Let me see here. It says 44 inch pounds, then 132 inch pounds, then 33, and then rotate additional 90 degrees, and then do another 90 degrees. So all that BS, I'm just gonna end up doing 15 and then 33, and then 90 and 90. So we're gonna start from the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're just going X. We're going 1, 2 in the middle, and then we're X in the rest. So 15 there, 15 there. 1, 2. Now I'm just gonna end up going over here. And I'm gonna come down here. And I'm gonna swing over here and then go back up to the top. Alright. And I'm gonna hit here. And that's it. I'm just going to let that sit for maybe 5-10 minutes, and then just let the head settle. Then I'm going to double check them, 15, and if they're all 15, then I'm going to torque them to 33. Now the reason why I'm going to double check them after that is because when the head settles a little bit, it could lose its 15 foot-pounds of torque. It could settle in and it could only be like 10. So I'm going to double check them. And then if I feel they're good, then I'm going to go to 33. Then after 33, I'm going to wait 10 minutes. I'm going to come back. I'm going to check them again, make sure they're 33. And then if they're 33, then I'm going to torque them 90. Then I'm going to come back 10 minutes later and torque them another 90. Now a lot of people, they'll run their engine and then rip everything off, all the cams, and then retorque them again. There's no need to do that. As long as your holes are clean and you know where your bolts are going. If you have ARPs, it doesn't matter, but if you got head bolts, you got to make sure that you have all the oil out of your block studs or your block ports for the head bolts, because if not, then what's going to happen is when you're torquing, your bolt's going to hydro lock and it's not going to push the head all the way down, and one side's going to be leaking because the oil pressure in there isn't letting the bolt go down. So make sure all your ports are clean and you shouldn't have any problems. One more tip I'd like to tell you guys on using these torque wrenches. I actually did it, cut myself at the beginning of it. I did it wrong right at the beginning. When you're going to torque these down, a lot of people will grab it like I did, right here at the tip and pull. Well, it's not going to click if you do that because it's not putting pressure on the bar, really. You're kind of using your arm to push this one forward, and it allows the bar not to click. You're supposed to grab it right here, and right here, and hold down, and there's that click. If you don't, look, it's not clicking. So a lot of people, they grab it here like I did earlier, and I was like, I knew I shouldn't have done that, but I was already going through the video, so, but I figured I'd show you guys that. Here's how to properly torque your head with a torque wrench. You have to grab it right here. Don't grab it on the head, but grab it here, push down obviously, and it clicks immediately. Over here it won't click at all. So remember that when you're torquing down your head bolts, because when I went back after the 15 foot-pounds that I had torqued it like this, I grabbed it like this, forgetting that I was grabbing it like that, and I could go a whole nother half turn until it clicked. So make sure you guys do that. Alright, so I've calculated it that the actual torque spec is 80 foot-pounds. That's what the 290 degree turns after the 33 foot-pound turn. When you do those two, it brings it up to 80 foot-pounds. So you can go ahead and torque your head to 80 foot-pounds if you want. instead of doing the 290 steps. But I guess they do the 290 steps just as a reference. So you could do like 33, 15, 33, I don't know, maybe 50, and then 65, and then 80 if you wanted to. But usually if you go from like 33, 60, 80 is better, because you want to be able to keep turning it. You don't want to do little turns because you're not going to get as accurate. Now before we go ahead and put the intake manifold on and the valve cover, we have to do the water pump and the timing first. We have to do the cams and all that. Reason why I can't put the intake is because the intake goes over top and you won't be able to get your valve cover and screw your bolts in. Also, don't forget back here in the back, don't forget to plug in your water housing temp sensor. And I believe, actually I said this is idle air control valve. This is probably the EGR valve right here on the back, because the idle air control valve is on the intake manifold. I said it backwards. I knew it probably wasn't that. So make sure you plug all that in, plug all your water hoses way back in the back. There's going to be a water hose going in the back. And we got our PVC valve, or PCV valve. I don't know why I said PVC. But the PCV valve right here, I actually took it out, put in some lacquer thinner, cleaned it up. As you can see, I sealed up all around it, and then on the water pump housing area, sealed it up with some blue Permatec. I used the gray for the air and oil, and I used the blue for the water. For the exhaust, I used the orange Permatec. It's a high temp. And for the valve cover, all this, I'm going to seal it all up. Make sure you even put some seal around each bolt so that it doesn't come through the bolt holes. I'm going to use gray on that. But like I said, I got to do the cams and the timing and water pump before I even consider putting on the intake. This is as far as you want to go. Before you don't want to end up taking everything off. It happens sometimes. Okay, I soaked the cam gears and cams down with WD-40. First I cleaned them in soap and water, and then soaked them down and blew them off with the air hose because I didn't want them to rust. Now I'm going to be lubing it up with some SuperTech general purpose grease. It's only $1.87. I'm going to put it in each one of the journals, and I'm going to do this all the way to the back. I have everything lubed up, and I'm getting ready to put the cams on here. Now the intake side has a little hook. Okay, if you don't know which one it is, I'll show you. This right here is the intake side. It has that little hook. They don't have a hook on the exhaust side, so if you get them mixed up, just look for that little kind of like notch or whatever you call it. It's not on the other one. So I'm just going to lay them in there. We're going to, the notch is going to be up. And that's that. Now we're just going to get our end cap, or cam caps. And on the cam cap, let me see, if you don't know, let me see if you look at this right here, hold on, let me see if I can get it to focus. Okay, it says I3. That means intake 3. So the intake side, and it's 3. Now the numbers are from the front 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 caps. I'm pretty sure there's 5. 1 or 2, 4. Yep, 5 caps. So this is intake 3. Okay. And what you're going to be looking for is the eye. The eye comes first, okay? So you're like, you don't want it like this. You want it like this. The eye is in the front. So eye, and then we got 1, 2, 3. So this one goes right here. But I got to clean these up. So just so you understand, that's how you put your cam caps back on. Alright, so here's how we're going to lay it out on the intake side. It's going to lay like this: I1, I2, I3, I4, and I5. And they're going just like this. So the eyes are going to be in the front. You don't want it like this. That's wrong. The eye has to be in the front. Same thing with the exhaust side. It's going to be E in the front. Now I'm going to put some Supertech general purpose grease on here. I'm just going to put a little bit on each one. Alright, so I'm going to take the I1 and I'm going to put it on the very first one. Take I2. Remember, the I's first in the number. Then I3. 4 and 5. Four, and then we got 5 all the way in the back. And then I'm just gonna get my cap bolts later. Now I'm gonna do the exhaust side. So here's E1, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we got all our caps on. I'm just gonna stick the bolts down there, and I'm gonna get them started. The manual requires that these bolts be torqued down to first 62 inch-pounds and then 144 inch-pounds. Now the way you calculate that into foot-pounds is you take the number inch-pounds, which is, we'll do the max number, which is 144. You divide that by 12, and then that gives you foot-pounds. So 144 divided by 12 is 12. So you're going to torque these down to 12 foot-pounds. For 62, it's 5.2 inch-pounds. So 5 inch-pounds. So first step, torque them down to 5. Shoot, if your torque wrench doesn't like 5, go to 6 or 7, and then go to 12. And that's how. Alright, for this next part, we're going to get a 1/2 inch socket, and obviously I'm using a file, or you can buy the kit that I showed you earlier. And we're going to put this in the back here, flush with the cams, as you can see. And we're going to turn the cam until we can slide it in. So the first one, whichever way we have to go, it's looking like I got to go to the back a little. So there we go. So let me give you a visual what this looks like. I'm going to zoom in so or pick the camera up and bring it over so you can really see it. This works out great. Okay, so I turn the cam until I get it in there. As you can see right here, I'm trying not to get the light, but put the narrow end of the file towards this side, because you can't put it over here because it hits the pipe over here. But as you can see, this is exactly what it's doing. It's just going in there. You turn the cam until you can slide it in. It pretty much locks it in. Same with this. See how that is up right here? But as you can see, it just keeps it completely flush. Let me see if I can't go to the back. Yeah. So you see what I'm talking about. It works out great. I mean, you save a lot of money and that. Now with the crank, we got that bolt in the side over here, which is right there, and that's working out pretty good. So I'm going to show you how to do the timing chain next. Alright, so we're going to put this on first, the guide. I'm going to lace it with some grease, and then after that, the part with the washers, steel grommet things, the guides, those go flat, so it's going to go right here and right here. So it's going to sit just like that. Now these are the original ones. I'm not going to replace them, but they seem to be in decent shape for 211,000. I went ahead and cleaned them up. Just stuck them in the sink and got some orange Permatech orange hand cleaner. I took all the parts out, slid the plastic off, took these and scrubbed them down with a Scotch-Brite green pad, and then cleaned them in soap and water, and then put them back together so there's no fibers or sand or anything from the Permatech's hand solution. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put these guides on. First one we're going to do, we're just going to get it started. And then we're going to run this one right here. And I'm pretty much, I'll look in the manual, see what the torque specs are in these, but usually you get them nice and pretty hand tight. I mean, it's only a 5/16 bolt, so you can't really torque it too much. Alright, the timing chain guide bolts are going to be 89 inch-pound. Now to install this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put some engine assembly lube. It's got a hole right here. I'm going to put a little bit of engine assembly lube right here on the pin that's coming out. And all we do is we just slide it on there, just like that. That's it. Okay, so here's how you're going to compress this thing. You're going to get a flathead screwdriver small enough, and you're going to put it in there, and you're going to turn it so it pushes the spring out. And once you turn it, and you're going to squeeze really, really hard until you get it, and then you're going to put this pin in there like that, and then you can let go. Okay, for the timing chain, I can't be putting on my timing tensioner just because it's got a tooth broken off. I had to order one, so I'm waiting for that to come in. I went ahead and cleaned the chain and greased it with some WD-40 so it wouldn't rust. Let's just go with the top first. We're going to hang this one out. We're going to come down like this. Now, you want to be able to work it because you want this tight, and it doesn't look like it wants to go very much. So, it looks like I can turn this one just a hair to the right. So I'm going to get out my socket gun. And I'm going to take the 1/2 inch and I'm going to turn it just a hair. There we go. Now we're going to take the chain, we're going to roll it down here, down the guides, all the way down to the bottom. And you're going to let it hang on this side. Then we're just going to push the tensioner apart. Make sure it's tight on this side. Pull it down, get it on the teeth. And it's going to be just like that. Alright, for the timing chain tensioner, we're just going to stick it right here. These two bolts right here. We got the pin still in there. And we're going to push it forward a little bit. We're just going to get these started. The timing chain tensioner torque is 89 inch-pound. Make sure you got everything lined up. We got our, in the back of the cam, we got our file to keep the cam timing straight. Now we're going to pull the pin. And there we go. Okay, so I got a mirror in there. And I can see it now. You guys see what I'm talking about? See that piece right there? Let me go back. Right there. Now, I need to get it flush. I need to put the screw into it. I'm going to screw this screw in here. Or this bolt. Hopefully it's long enough. Sweet. Just long enough. And then I'm going to get it a little snug and I'm just going to move it until I get it completely flush. Okay, for the timing chain cover, you're going to get some ultra gray Permatech gray silicone, and what you're going to want is you're going to want to fill or cover up these holes where the bolts go, not the holes but the outside of them, because when you push it together it's got to seal around or else the oil will go through the bolt and be coming out your bolts. So pretty much you're just going to seal it around the bolt hole. Once you're done with that, we're just going to make a line here all the way down. Oh, before we do that, I almost forgot, I got to put in the front crank seal, main seal. Okay, got the front main seal on. Just going to check our seals, make sure I didn't rub anything off. And we're going to line it right up with the dowel pins. So we're going to go this first one right here. Just like that. On the timing chain cover, didn't quite see anything in the manual. I'm sure it's in there, but I'm just going to hand tighten. I'm going to start from the middle and work my way in an X pattern. So now for these two big ones right here, the 1/2 inch here and here, I'm just going to hand tighten those also. Now for the harmonic balancer, or the crankshaft pulley, which a lot of people call it, you got this friction piece of stainless. Alright, you need that. That goes on first. You actually put it right like that and then slide it on. You're going to need one of your 5/16 bolts. You can just take one out of here if you want. You're going to slide it through here and you're going to put it right into the block. That's how it lines up the pulley. So you screw it right here into the block. There's one on the bottom, only one for the pulley. Then when you're done torquing it and everything, you take that screw out. You don't want to start it with that in there, it'll snap it right off. Now we got that all the way flush, and I'm going to turn it until I line this bottom bolt hole right here up with a 5/16. I'm going to find one. There we go. I'm going to use the 5/16 off of the crank positioning sensor. Alright, so that's locked in. Now we've got the crank bolt. I'm going to make sure it's cleaned up really good. Real dry, nothing on there. I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on the bolt itself. As you can see here. I'm going to take some Loctite and run one strip around the thread, because I don't want this bolt ever coming off, because if the bolt backs out, that's it. You slip timing and kaboom. Piston comes up, hits the valve, it's over. Poor design. Normally if this came off, you'd have some time, because there'd be a keyway in the crank pulley, or the harmonic balancer they call it on this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and put some Loctite on it. I don't see how that's even coming off. To be honest, I'm going to hit it with an impact gun. Forget this childish stuff. Impact gun will put 100 times less stress on a little nut than manually cranking it. So, let's see what we got here. Because it hits it so fast. It ain't going nowhere. I don't like to take chances, so let's see here. Well guys, hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on how to do your timing chain, timing tensioner, make sure all your cams and crank is timed up, because this particular motor doesn't have any timing marks or dowel pins for the crankshaft or the cams themselves. Also, I hope you guys caught on how to change the head gasket. I kind of threw that in there. I wasn't really going to show you guys that, but I decided to. It's just a lot of video editing, but I do this for mostly you guys, and it actually helps me make a living in a way with advertisements. So the more you guys view and subscribe, it helps me keep doing these videos. I'd like to be able to do these videos for a lifetime and help you guys out all the time, but sometimes the advertising doesn't pay so well, so I need to get more subscribers. So I'm hoping that I get enough subscribers and not have to go get another job. So I also do computer repair, so that's my job. I work at home and stuff, and do house calls and stuff, so that's what pays most of my bills, but this helps out too. So go ahead and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.